For the past 5 months, my wife, Emily, had been buried in a massive project. It wasn't just some personal passion of hers. She was the one running the show, carrying the full weight of its outcome on her shoulders. This wasn't about her ego, though. It was about survival. She worked for Lockhart Solutions, a mid-sized tech firm in Franklin, Tennessee, and this project was the company's lifeline. If it tanked, Lockhart Solutions and its 250 employees could go down with it. The last 5 months had been brutal for her, with late nights, endless meetings, and a pressure cooker of expectations. Emily thrived on it, though. She'd always been the brilliant one in our family. She graduated with a bachelor's from Crestwood College and later earned her MBA from Vanderbilt University's Owen School of Business. Me? I'm Mike. I started fixing cars straight out of high school, and 23 years later, I'm still at it, turning wrenches at a garage in East Nashville. It's not glamorous, but I love the work. The pay's solid too, enough to put Emily through school and raise our 3 kids without too much strain. We weren't rolling in cash, but we didn't need to be. Life was good, steady, comfortable hours. Our kids are all grown now. Liam, our oldest, enlisted in the Army right after high school and stationed at Fort Campbell up near the Kentucky line. Maya, our middle one, got married last summer and moved to Boulder, Colorado, with her husband. And Noah, the baby, just started his freshman year at the University of Florida. With them out of the house, it's just Emily and me rattling around our little ranch-style place in Franklin. We'd been together since we were kids ourselves. She got pregnant with Liam 4 months after we got hitched at 19. Back then, we crashed with my folks in their big, half-empty house in Murfreesboro. My 3 siblings had already flown the coop, so it worked out. Mom and Dad were built-in babysitters while Emily chipped away at her degree. 2 more pregnancies stretched her 4-year plan into almost 7, but she powered through. I kept the bills paid, picking up overtime at the garage whenever we needed a boost. After she graduated from Vanderbilt, we rented our own place in Franklin. Big firms came knocking, offers from Atlanta, Chicago, even Seattle, but they all meant uprooting our lives. I was game, but Emily wanted to stay close to home, to her Tennessee roots. So she took the job at Lockhart Solutions. It paid well, gave her real responsibility, and put her on a fast track to the top. She'd been climbing ever since. Her big moment was coming up fast, a presentation scheduled for Thursday at the Grandview Hotel in downtown Franklin. It was the kind of event that could make or break her career, and I wanted to be there for her. I took a few days off work, figuring I'd help however I could. Turns out, all I managed was throwing together a quick dinner when she got home Tuesday night. Grilled cheese and tomato soup, nothing fancy. I didn't get her world. Corporate jargon, PowerPoint slides, boardroom politics, it all went over my head, and honestly, I didn't care to learn. This presentation wasn't just a local gig, either. Big shots from Europe, Asia, and South America were flying in, their flights and rooms at the Grandview covered by Lockhart. Emily let slip once that the company might have overextended itself footing the bill. The stakes were sky high, not just for her, but for everyone at Lockhart counting on this deal to keep the lights on. Tuesday evening, she came home looking sharp in a new outfit, a sleek charcoal suit with a crisp white blouse. She laid it all out on the guest room bed, meticulous as always. Emily was organized at home, but when it came to work, she was borderline obsessive. She'd packed cocktail dresses too, for the schmoozing events tied to the presentation. I even offered to tag along, me, in my grease-stained jeans, at some swanky hotel mixer. She smiled, thanked me, but said I didn't need to bother. Everything she needed, laptop, handouts, USB drives, was already loaded into the trunk of her Honda Civic. She'd drive herself to make sure it all stayed perfect. Wednesday was her prep day, setting up the conference room, running through her slides, then wining and dining the international clients that night. She was so damn good at her job, I figured I'd just be in the way. Once she'd triple-checked everything, all she wanted was a hot shower and a solid 8 hours of sleep. That's when I screwed up. While she was in the shower, I thought I'd be helpful and tidy up the stuff she'd spread out on the bed. Big mistake. As I shifted her makeup bag, a small white envelope slipped out of the side pocket. It was from a CVS in Brentwood, not our usual spot. Inside were 10 pills labeled Norris. The instructions were weird. If necessary, take 1 pill, then a second pill 12 hours later. I figured maybe it was for nerves, Public speaking's no joke, right? But it didn't add up. The prescription was in her name, filled just yesterday. I stuffed it back in the pocket before she got out of the shower, my mind racing. I'd look it up later, I decided. Asking her meant admitting I'd snooped, and I wasn't ready for that fight. While she got ready for bed, I slipped to the living room and fired up our old desktop. A quick Google search on Norris hit me like a punch to the gut. Emergency contraceptive. I crawled into bed beside her 10 minutes later, but sleep was a lost cause. I stared at the ceiling, my brain spinning. Why the hell would Emily need a morning after pill? I'd had a vasectomy 8 years ago after Noah was born. No accidents possible. Was she cheating? The thought made my stomach churn. I'd never doubted her, not once in 23 years. I didn't check her phone, her emails, nothing. I didn't need to. I trusted her completely. Until now. Wednesday morning, I was up before dawn, exhausted but wired. I threw on a jacket and took a long walk around the neighborhood, past the quiet cul-de-sacs and the gas station on the corner, trying to shake the fog in my head. I didn't know what to say when I got back, or if I'd say anything at all. Emily was already up, sipping coffee in the kitchen, her suit jacket draped over a chair. "Mike, where have you been?" she asked, her voice soft but distracted. "You want some eggs or something?" "Just coffee," I mumbled, avoiding her eyes. I wasn't in the mood to talk. "What's wrong, honey?" "It's just 3 days. You can come if you want, but you'd probably hate it, sitting around, bored out of your mind." "Nah, I don't want to go," I said, stirring my coffee too hard. "But I hate you being gone. I worry when you're not here." She smiled, reaching for my hand. "That's sweet, Mike, but I'll be fine. I'm not even leaving the hotel today, just setting up the conference room. Tonight, I'll chat up the clients. Tomorrow's the big day. I'll be so slammed I won't have time to breathe. I'll be home Friday afternoon, promise. We'll have a great weekend together. You know what I mean." She winked, trying to lighten the mood. "Sounds good," I said, forcing a grin. "But you can't blame me for worrying. I'm just a grease monkey with a gorgeous, successful wife. Sometimes I feel like your job's more important than me." "Stop it, Mike." Her tone sharpened, but her eyes softened. "I've always." She didn't finish. The kettle whistled, and she turned away to pour more coffee. I sat there, gripping my mug, wondering how long I could keep this secret gnawing at me before it spilled out. "Respected what you do, Mike. I've never said otherwise. You raised 3 amazing kids, put me through college. You're a hell of a husband, a damn good father, and you've always provided for us. Don't you dare forget that." Emily's voice was firm, cutting through the haze in my head as I finished my coffee. She cleared the table, her movements quick and efficient, like she was already mentally halfway to the Grandview Hotel. "Should I call you?" I asked, grasping for something normal to say. "No, that's not a good idea," she replied, barely looking up. "I'll have my cell off, and I'm unplugging the room phone tonight so I can sleep. I'll call you when I get a chance." I nodded, helping her load the car. She fussed over every detail, her laptop bag, the stack of folders, the projector, like it was a ritual. The drive to downtown Franklin would take her about 45 minutes, maybe an hour with traffic. I stood on the porch, watching her Civic disappear down the street, the pills burning a hole in my thoughts. I didn't say a word about them. The rest of the morning, I stayed out there, pacing the creaky boards, my mind a mess. I felt small, like I didn't fit in her world anymore. I was just a small-town gearhead, and she was out there conquering boardrooms. How had I not seen it before? I felt like an idiot, blindsided by my own trust. My best suit was a faded navy blazer and some khakis I'd worn to Maya's wedding, hardly Grandview material. My ties were ancient, relics from the early 2000s, but they'd have to do. I was halfway through knotting one when the phone rang. "Hey, Hon," Emily's voice crackled through. "Just letting you know I made it. Drive was fine, traffic wasn't bad. I'll call you tonight. Gotta go. I'm in room 914. Emily, I could crash at my brother's place in Murfreesboro tonight if you want to call my cell instead. Love you, gotta go." Her line clicked off before I could finish. I stared at the receiver, then grabbed my keys. I didn't head straight to the Grandview. First, I stopped at a diner off I-65 for a Philly cheesesteak, something to settle my nerves. It was going to be a long night. I just didn't know how long yet. I parked in the hotel garage, slumping in the driver's seat, staring at the concrete wall. I had to go in eventually, but my feet wouldn't move. Then my phone buzzed, jolting me into action. "Mike, Just wanted you to know everything's set, Emily said, her tone brisk. I'm heading downstairs to meet some folks for dinner. You didn't forget anything, did you? No, everything's fine, I lied. Got all you need for tomorrow? Yeah, it's all in my room. You need anything? Nah, just relax, okay? I forced a chuckle. Have fun. It's not fun, Mike. It's work. She hung up, and I turned off my phone, shoving it in my pocket. The Grandview lobby was buzzing, suits and dresses everywhere, so I didn't stick out too bad in my blazer. I snagged a brochure with the hotel layout and wandered, trying to look casual. What would I even say if Emily spotted me? I'd cross that bridge if it came to it. An event board caught my eye. Lockhart Solutions had no rooms booked for Wednesday night. That didn't sit right. She'd said she wasn't leaving the hotel, but now I wasn't so sure. The place had 3 dining options, a family joint, a casual spot, and fine dining. Emily hated eating around kids, so I skipped the family room and checked the casual one first. 5 minutes, no sign of her. Then I hit the fine dining room, and there she was. She was tucked in a corner booth, wearing a black cocktail dress that hugged her curves, the neckline dipping low, a string of pearls glinting under the chandelier light. She looked like $1,000,000, and the guy across from her seemed to think so too. I knew most of her Lockhart crew, but this wasn't one of them. He looked familiar, sharp suit, slick hair, but I couldn't place him. The room was packed, so I slid into a table nearby, blowing out the candle in its little glass holder. It's bugging my eyes, I told the waiter, who just shrugged and refilled my coffee for the 3rd time. I ordered chicken tenders, comfort food, and leaned toward the waiter. Hey, that guy over there looks familiar. Who is he? He glanced over. Oh, that's Charles Evan Clark, city councilman. Word is he's gunning for Congress soon. Big shot around here. That his wife with him? She's gorgeous. Nah, first time I've seen her. He usually books that booth for special company, if you know what I mean. He smirked, and I just nodded, asking for the check. Emily was glowing, hanging on his every word like he was the damn president. They weren't groping or anything, but it wasn't some dry business chat either. When I left, they were cracking open a second bottle of wine. Suddenly, the fancy lingerie made sense. I found a corner in the lobby, half hidden by a potted plant, and watched. 10 minutes later, they strolled out, hand in hand, heading for the elevator. I tracked the floor indicator, 3rd floor. Not her room, 914. That was something, but it didn't hit the 9th either. She'd gone to his. Just to be sure, I camped out in the lobby for an hour, eyes glued to the elevator. People milled around, but no Emily. Finally, I grabbed my empty duffel from the truck and marched to the front desk. It took some arguing, flashing my ID, proving I was her husband, before they caved. They called room 914, got no answer, and handed me a key card. I rode up, slipped inside, and didn't bother with the lights. For an hour, I sat in the dark, the hum of the AC filling the silence. Then I got to work. I packed everything, her clothes, her toiletries, every damn thing she'd brought. The Norris pack was still on the dresser, all 10 pills untouched. Her presentation stuff was laid out like a shrine. 30 glossy promo folders, 25 plain ones, a digital projector, her laptop. I stuffed it all in the duffel, then grabbed her purse and phone from the nightstand. All she had with her was a clutch, maybe some cash and lipstick. I scoured the room, making sure I didn't miss a scrap. When I was done, I left her car keys and my wedding ring on the dresser. The place was a ghost town after that. The elevator dropped me to the garage, and I hauled the 2 bags to my truck. 20 minutes later, I was on I-65 North, the road stretching out under a black sky. It was past 3 a.m. Time had slipped away. My phone rang an hour in, the Grandview's number lighting up the screen. Mike. Emily's voice was shaky. Yeah, where are you? I'll be back at the house soon, I said, my voice flat. The line went dead. She didn't speak, and neither did I. Salesmen say the first one to talk loses. I wasn't playing that game. After what felt like forever, she whispered, Mike, I'm so sorry. Then she hung up. I killed my phone and kept driving. Later that day, she was supposed to give the presentation that could save Lockhart Solutions and land her a corner office. Good luck with that now. I stashed the bags in the garage attic when I got home, locked the door, and waited for whatever came next. Emily never climbed up to the garage attic, and she'd never think to look there anyway. By then, I'd already decided it didn't matter much anymore. I spent that first morning after leaving Franklin gathering my stuff. Like most mechanics, I had my own tools, snap-on wrenches, a torque set, the works. It's practically a job requirement. I swung by the shop in East Nashville, loaded everything into my Subaru Outback, and picked up my final paycheck. The banks were open by then, so I didn't mess around, just drained my accounts, every cent I could pull. I stopped for a burger and fries at a roadside joint in Clarksville, Tennessee, right near the Kentucky line. I had enough cash to coast for a couple of years, but I wasn't the type to sit idle. Work was my anchor, same as it had always been for Emily. God, I was going to miss her. I killed a few hours poking around Mammoth Cave National Park, letting the cool darkness of the caverns numb my head. By nightfall, I'd rented a room at a cheap motel outside Bowling Green. No clue what came next. Saturday found me at the Tennessee Aquarium in Chattanooga, staring at jellyfish and sharks I'd never seen up close. It was peaceful, hours slipped by, and I figured it wasn't a bad spot to land. I grabbed an annual pass and, by dinner, scored a furnished mobile home in a trailer park nearby. Nothing fancy, just a bed, a couch, and a tiny kitchen. I didn't need more. Come Monday, I was on the hunt for work. A decent handyman can always find a gig if he's willing to hustle, and I was. I'd stay off the grid till my license or tags needed renewing, deal with that mess when it came. Sunday afternoon, I called Maya. I owed her some kind of explanation, but Emily had beaten me to it. She'd laid it all out, admitted the affair, that I'd caught her, that I'd bolted, and that Lockhart fired her after the presentation imploded. I felt a pang about the job, but she'd rolled the dice and lost. I asked Maya to fill Liam in next time they talked, and told her I'd check in monthly. Didn't say where I was, just that I was okay. By noon Monday, I had a job at a repair shop a short walk from the trailer park. There was a Waffle House halfway there, greasy hash browns and black coffee. What more could I ask for? They paid me $25 an hour, cash under the table, no questions. I didn't need to touch the money I'd brought. 2 months later, Maya said Emily had moved back with her folks in Murfreesboro. She didn't know much else, just that I seemed settled. Liam called from San Diego. He was shipping out on an aircraft carrier as an avionics tech. He tried explaining his job, but it was all Greek to me. Tech stuff never clicked. Both kids tiptoed around Emily, never bad-mouthing her, and I was grateful for that. Life settled into a rhythm. I started calling Maya weekly, emailing Liam when he was at sea. She kept tabs on Emily but spared me the details. Neither of us filed for divorce. Guess we were both too stubborn or too tired. I got a Tennessee license, updated the Outback's tags, and fell into a routine. A local dive bar became my haunt a couple times a month. I even had a few flings, 2 women, different nights, nothing serious. They didn't want strings, and neither did I. It worked. Life was simple, good even. Time blurred. Years slipped by without me noticing. The Outback started coughing at 200,000 miles, and one day, nursing a beer at the bar, it hit me. 5 years had passed since I'd left Franklin. Maya had 2 kids now, begging me to visit Boulder. Liam nearly married a girl he met in Thailand, but bailed at the altar. I worked 6 days a week, spent Sundays recovering from Saturday's whiskey. So when someone pounded on my trailer door at 6 a.m. on a Friday, I wasn't thrilled. I stumbled out of bed, yanked it open in day-old boxers. Yeah, they were rank, and glared at the couple standing there. The woman flinched, turning away. The guy didn't blink. Normally, I'd have grabbed pants, but uninvited guests at dawn? They could deal. We're looking for Mike Collins, the man said, calm as hell. I don't know you. I shot back, scratching my chest. I'm Dave Simmons, this is my wife Mara. We've got a problem, hoping you can help. Sorry, I don't fix cars by moonlight. Take it to the shop. I started to shut the door, but their blank stares stopped me. It's not about your job, Dave said. It's personal. Can we come in? The trailer was a dump. Empty beer cans, takeout boxes, no guests meant no cleaning. Even my lady friends insisted on their places. Be my guest, I muttered, leaving the bedroom door open as I pulled on jeans and a faded Titans shirt. Coffee? Takes 10 minutes. I shoved junk off the couch so they could sit. No answer on the coffee. We've got an adopted daughter, almost 5, Dave started, and a 2-year-old who needs a bone marrow transplant. We're hoping you can help. We'll pay if we have to. Buy my bone marrow? I smirked, thinking I was clever. No, we want to use it. Mara cut in, her voice tight. We'll compensate you for the trouble. So you do want to buy it? I was being an ass, and it hit me too late. They weren't joking. Their faces were dead serious, desperate even. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off. Go on. Our best shot at a donor is next of kin, Dave said. You're our best hope. Whoa, hold up. No offense, but you've got the wrong guy. When was your daughter born? She'll be 5 in July, Mara said, her eyes locked on mine, raw and honest. Hate to break it to you, but I had a vasectomy 15 years ago. No way I'm her dad. Then why's your name on her birth certificate? Dave asked, steady as a rock. I froze. Can't answer that. Maybe ask her mother. Silence stretched out, thick and heavy. I felt for them, but I was lost. What's the mom's name? Emily Elise Collins, Mara said. The air sucked out of the room. Emily. Those damn pills flashed in my mind. The Norris I'd swiped from her hotel room. If I hadn't taken them, this kid wouldn't exist. If I had, maybe she wouldn't be dying. Grief I'd buried years ago clawed its way back, sharp and bitter. That night in Franklin, Emily laughing with that slick councilman, Charles Evan Clark, burned behind my eyes. Had she been pregnant then? Was this his kid, tied to me by some twisted paperwork fluke? I didn't know what to say, but the Simmonses were staring, waiting for me to fix their world or break it. The memory of Emily with that smug politician crashed over me like a tidal wave, just when I'd finally started to let it all fade. Damn it, it was back, sharp and unrelenting. I looked at Dave and Mara, their desperate eyes boring into me, and something shifted. I get it now, I said, my voice low. I'm sorry for being a jerk earlier. I'll do whatever I can to help. I leaned forward, elbows on my knees. First off, why can't Emily donate the bone marrow herself? She can't, Dave said, his tone flat. Medically, she's not able. Why not? She's the mom. Shouldn't she be a match? She is a match, Mara cut in, but she's too sick. The doctors won't even consider her. Sick with what? I pressed, my mind racing. She was always healthy as a horse. And liver failure? That shouldn't stop a bone marrow donation. It's not just that, Dave said, exchanging a glance with Mara. The hospital won't take her consent. What? Like there's something wrong with her head? I asked, half joking, but their silence hit me like a brick. They didn't want to say it, and I didn't want to push. 10 minutes ago, I didn't give a damn about these people. Now I felt this weird urge to shield them, to fix this. How'd this happen? Could my kids be a match? Maybe, Dave said. But we thought you were our best shot. Why not go after the real father? We thought it was you, Mara replied, her voice cracking. We don't know who else it could be. Emily didn't say much. She wasn't in any shape to explain. Most of what we know came from the adoption agency. I needed a break. Hang on. I'm going to make some coffee. I left them on the couch and shuffled to the kitchen, firing up the pot. While it brewed, I slipped into the bathroom, splashing water on my face to shake the fog. I'd already made Mara squirm enough. No need to parade around half-naked anymore. Where you folks from? I called out, pulling mugs from the cabinet. Westchester, Virginia, Dave answered. All right, here's a deal, I said, walking back with the coffee. If I tell you who your daughter's real father is, you've got to promise to go after him hard, relentless, till you get what you need. What are you talking about? Mara asked, frowning. Her dad's a big-shot politician in Virginia. He'll deny it, throw lawyers at you, but if you push, really push, you might force him to own up. Get the bone marrow that way. That's what you want, right? Yeah, Dave said, nodding slowly. But how do we make that happen? I'm a mechanic, not a strategist, I admitted, handing them each a mug. But I'd bet on the media, TV, radio, newspapers. Politicians hate a bad headline. You got any connections? Their faces lit up, like I'd flipped a switch. I think we can manage that, Dave said, a spark of resolve in his voice. So who is he? Mara pressed. Charles Evan Reed, running for U.S. Senate. I'd wager he'll do anything to dodge a scandal. The coffee was ready, but they were already on their feet, itching to go. Before they left, I scribbled down Maya and Liam's numbers. In case you need backup. My kids'll help if it comes to it. Then I hesitated. Where's Emily at now? Pensacola, Florida, Mara said. Trailer park off Gulf Beach Highway. I nodded, already mapping the drive in my head. I'd be there before they even hit Westchester. I got a haircut, grabbed a clean flannel shirt. Emily had wrecked me, but I still wanted to look halfway decent when I saw her. Her place was a double-wide, newer than mine, with a beat-up Volvo out front, flat tire, cracked windshield. The woman who answered wasn't Emily. She looked rough, late 40s maybe, face etched with hard years, no makeup to soften it. Well, if it ain't Mike Collins, she drawled before I could speak. Never thought I'd see you here. You've got me at a disadvantage, I said, leaning on the old cliché. Sherry Hale. Come on in, honey. Beer. Nah, thanks. I'm here for Emily. Sherry crossed the small living room and pointed to the dining nook. Here she is, Mike. Take a good look. On a little table sat a brass urn, alone and gleaming under the fluorescent light. I froze, staring at it. Too late. Maybe I will take that beer, I muttered. Emily had landed in Pensacola after giving up the baby. She'd cashed out her Lockhart profit sharing, 401k, severance, the works, and bought the trailer. For a while, it kept her afloat. She took a job in shipping at a garment factory, where she met Sherry, who rented a room. Every dime Emily made went to booze, started with wine, ended with bottom-shelf whiskey. It cost her the job, and she burned through her savings. No dating, no friends. Sherry stuck around, paying bills, buying food Emily wouldn't eat. 3 years of drinking herself into the grave. She'd left a will, though, left me the trailer and the Volvo. Sherry said guilt ate her alive. She didn't stop the pregnancy, didn't end it, just arranged the adoption months ahead. Odd jobs here and there, barely scraping by, no fight left. She'd talk about me, Sherry said, but shame kept her from calling. Maya had given her my number, never used it. One mistake broke her worse than it broke me. I stayed in Pensacola 2 weeks. Sold Sherry the trailer for $1, got $1,000 for the Volvo. Then I drove to Westchester. Dave and Mara had leaned on Reed hard. Media blitz, public pressure. He fought, demanded DNA tests, but they came back positive. To save his campaign, he donated the marrow. It worked, the kid pulled through, but his life didn't. Poll numbers tanked, his party dumped him before the election, and his wife filed for divorce, splashing it all over the tabloids. Now I'm headed to Dallas to see Maya and meet my grandkids. Emily's ashes are in the passenger seat, rattling in that brass urn. I don't know how long I'll keep them, maybe just long enough to say goodbye for good. The road stretches out ahead, and for the first time in years, I feel lighter. Not whole, but close enough.